Hello everybody, John from Lovibond here, back with another movie review, and today I'm going to be discussing the 2016 release, The Autopsy of Jane Doe. It's a film of two halves and two very different ones at that. It's fairly brisk in pace and relatively simple in the story department. Scandinavian director Andre Øvredal brings a suspenseful, low-budget horror film largely revolving around the corpse of a young lady and the plethora of secrets that her body holds within. It begins somewhere in Virginia, and it never does say where, opening with a cool little camera spin that focuses on the lawn of a peaceful residential setting. It's anything but internally, however, as moving inside, the elderly occupants appear to have been brutally murdered in highly suspicious circumstances. There's a real sense of bewilderment from the investigating police officers at the bloody remains they've found at the scene, the manner of death, and doors that appear to have been locked from within. This is further compounded when they make the bizarre discovery of the partially buried corpse of a young woman in the basement below. Headed up by Sheriff Buck, played by Michael McKellarton, they're looking for answers and quick. Step forward Tommy, played by Brian Cox, and Austin, played by Emile Hirsch, the father and son duo that work as coroners at the local family-run mortuary. The building's facade looks rickety and ancient, but the old saying, never judge a book by its cover, was tailor-made for this precise situation. Tommy is an experienced veteran at his craft, and when the Jane Doe gets wheeled in, he's only too happy to oblige the puzzled, confounded Buck, and eagerly sets about trying to discover both her origin and the cause of her death. As I mentioned earlier, this film is a tale of two halves, and the first half is infinitely more enjoyable as a spectacle than what comes afterwards. This is mainly because the whole feel of the first half is less of a supernatural horror. Instead, Øvredal opts to focus firmly on the mystery element and the steadily growing, seemingly coincidental weird happenings taking place in the morgue as they investigate the woman's body. As Tommy and Austin cut open the human Pandora's box lying before them, they gradually discover a plethora of different clues within her corpse that at times leaves them with more questions than answers, from severely broken wrists and ankles, bizarre scarring and occult markings on her internal organs, a strange ragtag message is even discovered within her bowels, all the way to badly blackened lungs, all hidden below an angelic looking body. It's really after the pair begin delving further into the hidden secrets the woman possesses that the film makes its tonal genre shift away from the more realistic mystery heavy setting in the first half to the more supernatural horror style in the second. Don't get me wrong, Øvredal's direction was still decent after this point, and the unsettling, eerie, claustrophobic atmosphere was very well utilised, especially when the walking, bell-wearing corpses were scurrying around. Ultimately though, I just felt the payoff for the long build-up of tension wasn't anywhere near rewarding enough for the viewer, and the whole anti-misogynistic reverse curse Salem witch trial explanation came across just a little bit convoluted to me. I've seen other people mention that it was clever, perhaps I'm missing something, I don't know. With all that said, I did like the little twist towards the end involving Austin and his rescuers. There wasn't exactly a massive cast in this film, with the overwhelming majority of it involving just 3 characters, and one of them was a stiff. Brian Cox was excellent as Tommy, and for me put in the best performance in the film. His character almost narrated the proceedings in some ways as he systematically went through the autopsy, breaking down each stage and examining everything with a fine-tooth comb. His performance in particular brought a level of believability to the film's events, even as he took a more traditional horror turn. Emile Hirsch was also good as Austin, the heir apparent and son of Tommy. He had very good chemistry with Cox, and their on-screen relationship was one of the highlights for me. Massive respect to Owen Catherine Kelly too for what must have been a mundane experience as the unmoving corpse. It couldn't have been easy lying naked doing nothing for the duration of the shoot, and she made a very believable and slightly unnerving corpse. Unfortunately for her though, Mr. Radcliffe's portrayal of a dead body is still probably the best I've seen. Roman Osen's cinematography has to be given some recognition too. He nailed the almost clinical, distant filming style of the early morgue scenes, allowing the viewer to feel slightly detached from the experience whilst watching the autopsy taking place before them. This had the effect, for me at least, of lessening the distaste at some of the fairly explicit gore happening in these scenes. I also liked the unsettling frequent pans to the face of the woman, which really helped build the tension excellently before the shit hit the metaphorical fan. The CG was pretty poor though, but I'll give them a pass for that because it was, by all accounts, a rather low budget film. I did like this film in parts, and whilst I understand it had to have some sort of explanation for the corpse's undamaged appearance in connection with the murder scene earlier in the film, I just felt it could have been executed a little bit better. I found the abrupt change in tone in the middle a little jarring. Now, I'm not easily scared, I've mentioned this before, so the jump scares did nothing for me, but I will admit to feeling slightly anxious as the corpse made its way towards Tommy and Austin as they waited for the elevator to make its way down towards the end. The death that came immediately after left me a little perplexed though, but again, there was a fairly neat piece of symmetry involved in that which I did appreciate. Would I recommend this in the end? It's certainly not the worst I've ever seen, but I have seen a damn sight better too. I'd probably give it a miss if I'm being honest, and I'll be giving this a 2.5 out of 5. Remember guys, if you're enjoying the content we're putting out, then do subscribe to us on YouTube, iTunes and Google Play, whilst also giving us a little follow on Facebook at Movie Burner Entertainment and on Twitter at Movie Burners. You can also catch up with all the latest reviews we're putting out on the Movie Burner blog at movieburnerentertainment.org. Until the next time, goodbye.